Long time no speak. I haven't done a studio vlog since I became poorly earlier on in the year. In January, on like the 18th, I found out I had a kidney stone. Now I went into hospital and wow, the pain was insane. It was kind of, I can't really show you. It was from like just under my bra strap all the way down to the top of my hip, just on my left hand side at the back. And the only way to explain it is I actually thought an organ had burst. I didn't know what it was. I couldn't talk. I was just kind of rocking very slowly on the bed and telling Ben that I need to go to hospital. And it was really, really scary because the only time I've ever been through that kind of intense pain before is labour. I have had 2 cesareans, but I did have a labour with my eldest, 52-hour one in fact. So I do know what labour pain was like. And it was that intense pain, like 10 out of 10 pain. And I just could not get over, I just couldn't understand what was going on. So I went into hospital and they said, pretty sure you got a kidney stone, here's some pain relief and away you go. And I was like, right, okay. I found out that generally kidney stones take 45 days to pass. So the one that I had, it was in my kidney, and then you wait for it to go through your ureter, which is the long tube after the kidney, then it falls into your bladder and then it comes out. It's not as easy as that because I had a 4 mil stone. Now when it's 5 mil, they'll go in and they'll blast it so it kind of blows up into smithereens and then you can pass it easier. But because mine was 4 mil, they wouldn't do that. So I kept on having to go into hospital because strangely I couldn't actually wee most of the time, which was weird because obviously you've got 2 kidneys, 1 bladder, but I couldn't wee. So I had to keep going into hospital. And they were a bit confused, but every time I went in, they were like, well, it's probably because the stone's moved and it's just kind of stuck in the area. So just keep on going, keep on drinking water and you'll be fine. And then another 2 weeks passed and I went back in again because the same thing had happened and the pain was really bad. And then after a while, lots of other things were happening. I won't go into details, but it's been really, really difficult. It's been life limiting. It's been life changing. It's been really, really tough and probably not really what I was expecting from a kidney stone either, to be honest with you. But I finally spoke to a consultant in March after a couple of months, and obviously, like, I think it was I was 90 days in at that time and the stone wasn't going anywhere and it was still stuck in the tube after my kidney. And so the consultant was like, we're going to have to operate because it's obviously not going to move, it's obviously stuck. So 8 weeks ago, I went in for my kidney stone removal, but I had a slight temperature. My temperature was 37.9. My temperature is normally 37.3-ish anyway. I'm quite hot for some reason, but it was a little bit up. And so he poked and prodded my belly and he was like, oh, you've made a bit of a face when I've come around this side, so I'm pretty sure you've got a kidney infection. And I was like, no, don't be ridiculous. I'm in a hospital and it's really hot, like hospitals are hot. But no, I did. I had a really bad infection in my kidney. So he told me that he'd have to stent me. Now, I've heard these awful stories about kidney stents and they are 45 centimetres long and the minute you have it in, you want it out and it's painful throughout and you pee blood for the whole time and all sorts of other stuff, just constant pain. And so when he told me I needed a stent, I cried. I'm still feeling a bit emotional about it now because it was really tough. So I went in and they put the stent in and it was like, it was completely inside me. So it went from my kidney and this stent is like 45 centimetres long. Like I said, it's massive. It's got a coil at the end of it and on either end of it either. So it goes into the kidney and it won't drop through. So it stays inside there and then it comes down all the way into the bladder and it's got another coil at the end of the bladder. So if you can imagine, like when you're walking around and you've got this foreign object inside you, it rubs really badly. So every time I walked, it would rub on my kidney, or it would rub on my bladder, or if I was really lucky, it would rub on both. So every single day for nearly 8 weeks, I've had incredible pain in my kidney or incredible pain in my bladder, real urgency to wee all the time. Like, it's kind of confusing, but I suppose because you've got this thing in your bladder just thinks, oh well, you obviously need to wee, and so you've got that all the time. And I couldn't drive for 2 weeks. I could barely walk. I've only been able to really walk in the house. Haven't been able to really leave the house. I did finally manage to start taking Mila to school. So I took her to school for 6 weeks, and I could walk down to the school gates, walk back to the car, and that was it. That was it for the day. I've had to have a nap every day because my body has been so busy with the stent in that I've had to rest a lot. I haven't been able to do much work. It's just been insane, absolutely insane. And the pain has just been, it's been a bit much sometimes. So last Tuesday, I went in, and the plan was to take that stent out, remove the stone, blast it if it needed it, and kind of, I don't know if they necessarily hoover out the bits, but they were like, they were going to make sure that they weren't going to leave me with much, so it wouldn't be too bad. And so he said that they might need to stent me again. And they did. So I had an x-ray before I went down to the operating theatre, and the stone, when they put the stent in, the stone was obviously in the tube. So the 7 weeks that I'd been having the stent in, it kind of obviously rubbed and moved it around. So they wanted to have an x-ray to see if the stone had moved up and back into my kidney, or if it stayed where it was, or if it had moved down. And what had actually happened is it had stayed where it was, and it had been rubbing. So it was only a 2mm stone when they went in, or when I had the x-ray anyway. So that was, you know, pretty good news, really. It was obviously not made of strong stuff, so it's kind of helpful. But then he said that when he went and removed the stent, it was like the stone just disintegrated. He said he couldn't find it, so he went up with the camera, looked around my kidney, couldn't find it in there. Obviously the tube was clear and there wasn't anything in my bladder, so he was like, the stone has disintegrated. So I was like, okay, well that's pretty good news. But because he'd gone up and he'd aggravated my kidney and aggravated the ureter, he had to then stent me again. So yeah, this stent is slightly different because it's partly outside me as well. I don't know if that's too much information for you, but it's the same thing. It's 45 centimetres, is in my kidney, goes down to my bladder, but it has strings on the end of it that come out, and that's because it's I was going to say semi-permanent stent, but it's not. It's just like a weekly, it's a week's worth of stent, so it's coming out tomorrow. And I thought it would just be cotton on the end, but it's not. It's like black wire. It's really uncomfortable because there's no way I can sit where it's comfortable and it digs in and it rubs and it hurts, and I have been so uncomfortable this week. I thought having the previous stent was horrific, and it was awful, but in some ways this has been even worse because I've had pain on the inside and on the outside for the whole week, and there's just no let up. I'm on a lot of drugs, and then 2 days ago, so like, well, Thursday, I started feeling a bit weird. I was having like a lot of pain in my bladder, but kind of like a different pain. It wasn't like from the rubbing of the stent, it was more from like a pressure build-up, or I just didn't feel right. And every time I went for a wee, I was kind of screeching a bit because it was really hurting in my kidney. And throughout the whole time I had the previous stent, that had never happened. I had pain from weeing, but I didn't have that kind of pain. It didn't hurt once I'd finished having a wee in my kidney, and that was what it was doing on Thursday. Lo and behold, I've got another infection, and I was told it's easier to have an infection with this because some of it's out and some of it's in. So I'm now on some beefy antibiotics to get rid of this infection. It just feels like I've had no luck with this. It's just been ridiculous, like insane. I didn't expect this, and I'm 35 and I feel 85. Just feels like my body hates me. I don't feel healthy. I don't feel, just feel like pants. I just feel completely pants. So worn out, and I'm just exhausted all the time from this. And I know it's because my body's quite busy. It's busy wondering what's inside me. It's now busy fighting another massive infection. Oh, am I ready for tomorrow? I don't really know what to expect. I'm very sensitive. I have EDS and I have fibromyalgia, and I feel stuff like 10 times more than a normal person would that doesn't have that. So pain is very difficult for me. So yeah, I know that they have to take it out. I get no pain relief. There's no anaesthetic. It's not general. I'm just going in to see a nurse and they're yanking it out. And just the thought of it makes me feel a bit sick. But we're gonna wait and see. I'm sure it'll probably be fine. And I'm really hoping that by the end of next week, I will be feeling really good. I'm expecting to feel a bit sore once the stent comes out. And then after that, I'm hoping I'm gonna feel like a new woman, because I've only been able to walk slowly for like the last 2 months. I can walk around the house okay now, because it's all kind of level, and I can get up the stairs in my house, that's fine as well. But if I go anywhere else, nowhere's like flat. There's no flat surfaces really. And it's that really affects me, because that makes me really tired because it then hurts. So yeah, like I am incredibly excited about just trying to return back to a normal life now. I need it desperately. Now, while I've been away, as such, only away from YouTube, I have been very busy with everything else. I have released my first set of alcohol ink washi tapes. Now here they are, so you can have a look at them. The colours are absolutely amazing, and they've come out beautifully, and I'm so happy with them. This one actually has holographic stars on, as you can see, and I've been using them, as you can see. I wrap on my all of my parcels up with them, because they are just so, oh, I can't even put them on my fingers properly. They are so cool. I mean, look at that. You cannot beat that, can you? And they're all done from my original artworks. I mean, mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. So yeah, they're all like continuous tapes, so you can't see like when the pattern repeats. which was really, really important for me, especially with stuff like this, because you can see them, like a lot of the ones that I've got, you can see where the pattern stops and it restarts again. And it was really important that you can't see that with mine. Obviously it's a repeating pattern because it has to happen. It can't be completely different throughout the roll. But yeah, it's worked out really well. I mean, oh, the colours are just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And I think this one's my favourite because I'm massively addicted to rainbows. This one has probably been one of the most popular because it's like kind of like a galaxy and it's got a lot of gold in it. And this one hasn't been as popular, but I think it's really underrated because it's beautifully bright. Like the colours are just fantastic. So yeah, I've been putting like a lot of my parcels, wrapping a lot of them in this one because I really love it. But yeah, I hope you like it as well because I've really enjoyed making those. It does make me want to make more though. That's the only problem. Now I have, like, I just feel exceptionally proud that I've managed to make my own tapes. I'm now thinking of all other kinds of designs and I need to stop because I also have my rainbow one too, which you've probably seen before. This is the first one I released. Rainbow nails too, look. So yeah, I've got 4 tapes and they're mine, and it's just, I'm a washi tape addict. You should see how many I've got. I've got probably 200, and now I've got mine as well. I have also launched my first hand lettering kit. So I did the Modern 109 workbook, Creative Lettering with Carrie. Now I released that a couple of weeks ago, and for the people that ordered on the day that I released it, I also did a little flourishing workbook with it as well. I haven't sold like a massive amount. I sold 8, but it's just the beginning. So I am really happy with that. I'm really, really chuffed with that, to be honest. I didn't do a massive work up to it. I just did it on Instagram, and the same posts go on Facebook. So I released it on Facebook and Instagram at the same time. And I didn't do an email. I did do quite a few posts about it. But yeah, I'm really, really chuffed that I did it. And everyone got the flourishing, well, 5 people got the flourishing kit as well, which is wonderful. So my plan is to finish the flourishing workbook. So it's, because the one that I did was like a follow on from, you've already had the first one, so here's one that you can continue on with. So I need to make the flourishing workbook like you'd never had the previous one. So that's my plan to do for this month, really, because there's another Friday event with Indie Roller at the end of the month. And then I also released some key rings for teacher gifts, my teacher rainbow, which I think I've spoken to you about before, and then some Father's Day presents. So I have been busy like releasing bits and bobs. I now feel like my creative ability is just tanked. For some reason, like, I feel like I've got no ideas going on at the moment, but I will get it back. I will definitely get it back. I'm going to say bye because this has been quite a long vlog, mainly talking about how poorly I've been. So sorry if that was a bit boring, but my intention is that once I get better, I will be doing more regular vlogs. I have a lot of content that I want to show you, and yeah, it's going to be really exciting. And the summer's here as well. It's going to be wonderful. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of the weekend, whenever you plan on watching this, if you plan on watching this. And I will speak to you soon. Thank you so much for your support. Mwah.